Today's topic is Roman numerals. Roman numerals is an additive system in which different letters represent different values. I means 1, V means 5, X means 10, and so on. We can classify these letters in two types that I've called the 1s and the 5s. The 1s, and I write this in quotations because it's not its real name, they don't have a real name. It's just a name I made up for this video. So the ones are letter I, which equals 1, letter X, which equals 10, letter C, which equals 100, and letter M, which equals 1000. And the 5s are letter V, which equals 5, letter L, which equals 50, and letter D, which equals 500. These are the 5s. To leave more room in the center of the board, I'm going to move this chart to the corner. Now, to make the rest of the numbers, we combine those letters. For instance, 1 and 1, that is number 1 plus 1, which is 2. X, that is 10 plus 10, which equals 20. Or we can combine different letters. X, V, that is 10 plus 5, which is 15. Or XVI, that is 10 plus 5 plus 1, which is 16. To make other numbers, we can as well subtract some letters. For instance, if we write an I on the left of letter V, that is 5 minus 1, so that is 4. So remember, VI is 5 plus 1 and IV is 5 minus 1. In the same way, an I and an X, when the I is on the left of the X, we are taking away the number, so that would be 10 minus 1, which is 9. If we have an X and now a 9, remember that this is 9, this would be 10 plus 10 minus 1, so that would be 19. So, a smaller value letter on the left of a bigger value letter, subtract 10 minus 1, that's 9. But a smaller value letter on the right of a bigger value letter, add 10 plus 1, 11. XL, that is a smaller value letter on the left of a bigger value letter, that is a subtraction. We take away 50 minus 10, that is 40. But if we have LX, a bigger value letter and a smaller value letter on the right, we add, that is 60. But to add and take away the values of the letters, we have to follow three simple rules. Rule number 1. The ones cannot be repeated to be added more than 3 times in a row. So we can do I, that makes up 3, but we cannot do I, to make 4. That is not the correct way. So to make 4, we have instead to write 5 and take away 1, as we have seen before. In the same way, we can do x and x to make 20, or we can do x to make 30, but we cannot do x to make 40. That is not correct. Instead, we have to do L, which is 50, minus x, which is 10, and that makes 40. The 5s cannot be repeated. To take away, we have to follow the second rule. We can take away only for the ones the number that is right on top of it. So for the x we can take away the I, for the c we can take away the x, and for the m we can take away the c, but we cannot take away other letters. So we can do cm, that is 1000 minus 100, that is 900. Or we can do ix, that means 10 minus 1, which is 9. Or we can do xc, that is 100 minus 10, which is 90. But we cannot do ic to make 100 minus 1, 99. That wouldn't be correct. We can only subtract the letter that is right on top, not other letters. It would be incorrect as well to do IM to make 999. That wouldn't be correct. So there are other ways to write those numbers. To the 5s, we can take away the letter that is right on the left. So for V we can take away I, for L we can take away X, and for D we can take away C, and there's no other possibilities. So you can do IV to make 4, or you can do XL to make 40, or you can do DC to make 400s. But you cannot go and do IL to make 49, 50 minus 1. This is not correct. You can only subtract the letter that is next to it, exactly on the left. And very important, remember, only the 1s can be subtracted, never the 5s. So you can't do VC trying to subtract 5 from 100 to get 95. There are other ways to write 95. So let's review the two rules so far. First rule: when adding, only the 1s can be repeated up to 3 times. The 5s cannot be repeated. And when subtracting, the 1s can be subtracted from the letter next to them. So I can be subtracted from V and from X. X can be subtracted from L and from C. C can be subtracted from D and from M. Other subtractions are not possible, and the 5s cannot be subtracted. If we stick to these two rules, the biggest number we can write is that's 3,999. 3,999. So to write numbers bigger than that one, we have the third rule. This rule only for numbers bigger than 3999, and it goes as follows. If we write a line on top of a number, it multiplies by 1000 the value of that number. It would be 11, so that would be 11,000. So this would be 500, and this would be 500,000. Sticking to these rules, you can write whatever number you want up to several millions. I leave it as an exercise for you to find what is the biggest number you can write following these rules.